Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be talking about the east, the west, the temperature gradient that's going to be very impressive in the northeast, and how the west will get its fair share of colder and more active weather compared to the east. If you do enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing with your friends. Let's get right into it. So, weather is pretty active right now, okay? We have this cold front, actually. This is the first thing that'll catch my eye with associated low pressure. And we have a severe weather threat in place right now, slight risk in these areas. This will continue to push eastward, eventually fizzles out as it's nighttime and we lose a lot of that daytime heating and energy that we're able to need for thunderstorms to really fire off. But they are firing and we do have severe weather. It's a little bit of a nocturnal threat, but just a slight risk for now, so nothing too unusual in this area, but one of our first of possibly many severe threats in the near future. In the west, pretty quiet as well. Now we do have this one low pressure that's come on shore, one closer to San Diego, Los Angeles area, one into Nevada. This is bringing some winter weather advisories for the higher elevations, lighter rains across the lower elevations. Northeast, it's relatively quiet. However, we do have this gloomy just very gloomy weather in this area, mainly the mid-Atlantic, as we have this low and this kind of stationary front draped, and what it's doing is keeping an easterly wind, so you have relatively warm, moist air off the Atlantic, which is keeping things mild and drizzly out there in the east. Could also be foggy as well. So let's kind of look at severe weather threat real quick. It's going to be very active, okay? Today, it's also new layout, which I honestly like. Tornado, there's a tornado threat. Northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, wind threat, and hail threat. So this is a pretty notable risk, at least. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but it's one of the first this year. So it's something we have to watch out for. Extends from Texas all the way through the southwestern tip of Indiana. Going to day 2, kind of retrogrades back. This one's more focused towards the Arklatex. Actually, no, sorry, not the Arklatex. This is more focused towards the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, into Kansas. Another tornado. This one's hatched, so this could be very interesting. Oklahoma City, right on the border. Once you get west of Oklahoma City, that's where really that threat really starts to kind of blossom. Wind also hatched as well as hail. So tomorrow looks a little more impactful, at least with the rest. And then day 3, one of the most impactful, it looks like. We have an enhanced risk from some portions of Texas, mainly through Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. So we're watching this threat. This will be very interesting to watch. This time the threat is mainly east of Oklahoma, but you're right into the enhanced risk. Kansas City right in there as well. So those are 2 major cities, Tulsa, Wichita, Overland Park near Kansas. So Wichita, Tulsa also into it. So it's going to be impactful next few days when it comes to severe weather. And then we do have a little bit of a stray day 7 risk. I wouldn't call it stray. It has been kind of showing up. Recently just showed up and still kind of in the same area. So severe weather will be most prevalent in about this area right here. So we're going to keep watching that over the next few days. So let's look at the National Weather Service alerts indices. There's your winter weather advisories I was talking about with that one system. Some winter storm watches where heavier snows are possible in the higher elevations. Just to the south and west, red flag warnings. We have fire conditions and wind advisories in the sandy colors. A little more east, this is your stripe of severe thunderstorm watches, okay? So we're going to watch that. Once you get into a little more of the cooler sector, it's more just rains, flooding rains, which is still impactful. So flood watches, flood warnings, all in effect. Dense fog advisories in this color over here, the grays. So as you can see, some grays over here in the east. And then some winter weather we're actually going to watch for portions of interior New England. Actually could get to coastal. We're watching Boston being a main city. If we actually click on Boston, it'll be more of an icing threat, okay? So you can see that Thursday night we get some snow with sleet and rain, and then it gets more icy. So I feel like this could be more of an ice threat. Snow won't amount to much, but it'll be impactful. This will be impactful for Thursday night into Friday. So we'll watch it. It does seem to go to rain, possibly, if the precipitation lingers through daytime. We'll take a look at that on short-range models. But those are your weather advice. So generally pretty active across the lower 48. So let's talk about that short range outlook next 84 hours. So here's your kind of stripe of precipitation, and I mean it's a pretty impressive feed, okay, coming right out the Gulf and then out, and then some backflow from the east. You just get moisture to kind of blossom that area. Pacific Northwest pretty active as well. So severe risk again right in here. Another low right here, chugging this way. Stationary front draped at the edge of this southern edge, so you get precipitation near and to the north. So watch that. You can see we get about precipitation. That stationary front could push a little more north. So we get rains mainly north of Baltimore. Could get some showers. Philly and north especially is where you get some rains. And then we'll have to watch maybe rumble of thunder Thursday night into Friday. We'll watch it. Okay, that's the same threat in the mid-south. We'll watch that. Will likely weaken, but we'll see if we can get a little general risk highlighted in those areas. That heads out. Here is your winter weather. You got to watch right here. This is, again, it's very brief. Okay, Boston, for example, RGM is warm, so you say rain. I favor interior New England, so we'll watch it, though. Then is our next severe threat. This is that Friday threat. Pretty sure this is that enhanced threat. So Friday, mainly into Saturday, is when we're watching it. Friday night into Saturday, mainly. Right into here, okay? Especially right into here is where we're watching that threat. Okay, a little more west. So we're watching it, and this could be pretty interesting. Okay, one of the most interesting ones. So one of the more interesting ones. So get some semi-discrete cells, maybe supercell, and then we get more of a quasi kind of line over here. So more of a damaging wind threat. So that's pretty typical we see. So we'll watch that. We'll see how far it makes it east on the northern threat here. It has it getting into portions of western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, before falling apart before central areas of those states. And then further south, we have a little bit of boundary. So we'll watch that for severe weather. Temperatures wise, it's going to get very, very warm. Excuse me. Here we are. So this is kind of representative of your stationary front right over here. Okay, this is your thunderstorm fuel, cooler air on the north side. So, I mean, it's knocking on your door over there in DC, the warmer air. So we'll watch that over the next few days. Watch that progression. You start to see it come north. There, for example, this is a tricky forecast. This is Thursday. Some models have that warmth up possibly to Baltimore. Some models have it right near DC. DC, it could be a battleground between 60 to 70 degrees as highs, or 50s for highs. So that's a pretty substantial battleground, maybe even upper 40s. So we'll watch it. RGM has it just sneaking past. That's around 60 plus degrees over in DC. So it has it just sneaking past. But then you go to Baltimore, for example, that's upper 40s, okay, in Baltimore. Philadelphia, for example, you're in that light blue here. We can actually take a little bit of a zoom in. So yeah, Baltimore's 50s, okay. DC, right, 65 maybe. But look at Philly, 40, almost 39. And just, this is kind of southeast of Philly. But look at that, 38, 39. So it's going to be a very sharp gradient. You can see that. We'll watch that backdoor cold front. So this is Thursday. So this is tomorrow. We'll watch that. And then Friday, the cold front tries to get a little more of a push. Okay, here it has the warm air staying to the south and west of DC. Okay, so this is your backdoor cold front. It's some sort of, I mean, you could call it cold air damming. Kind of gives off that signature, but it's more that backdoor cold front. So it keeps these areas cooler. So, but if it gets a little more north, then DC, Baltimore could get some warm. So we'll watch it. Philly stays cold. New York City, Boston cold. But watch that. Like there, for example, Baltimore below 50, DC maybe sneaks up to 55, Philly lower 40s, same with New York City, and then Boston is mid 30s possibly. So it's gonna be a battleground. But then what you have a cold front in the back. That means you probably have some system. This is your severe threat system. So when you have a low pressure that begins to form, you get your warm air, it cuts, so you're able to get a warm sector. So any of this cold air south of this warm front is easily going to get eroded, and you'll watch that after it has struggles south to DC. Watch how it gets up there, okay? This is Saturday, for example. And now we could take a little zoom in, and DC, this might be overdone, but I mean, it has it at 80 degrees. Baltimore 65, Philly 55. We can keep watching it, and then we get like 60s, widespread 60s. I mean, it won't be warm for like Boston, New York City. New York City maybe. Boston could be a little chillier. But it will be season, like it will be a change, okay? And you got 50s going up into Maine, so that just shows you that it's a warm sector for sure. And then we watch low cold front behind it, so we'll watch that. We'll get a better look at that in the future. Let's talk about the long range. Here's your ridge developing late this week into the weekend. Very pleasant weekend for many. Could be a little more cloudy. That's the only thing I would say. But Saturday looks to be a great day, possibly to get outside at least, especially with temperatures. So you do get a little cold front, but then you get a ridge that builds back. Okay, that's what I'm watching. So next week I think it will likely be warm again. So maybe a little back down on Monday, and then once we get to Tuesday, especially beyond, we could definitely warm back up in the east. So we're gonna maintain this ridge in the east, trough in the west, maybe some offshore ridging, but Pacific Northwest, North Central U.S. stays cold. This is honestly kind of a La Nina pattern, so we'll watch this, but La Nina is eroding. I'll give you guys an update on Enzo later on, but that's about it. So, hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. I'll see you guys on Friday most likely, and we got better times ahead.